point, I'm thinking, oh, this is just another trial and tribulation that God has me to go through. But little did I know that injury my rookie year would be the end of my football career trajectory the way that I wanted it to go, but it would be the beginning of my life journey.
Heisman Trophy winner, NFL Rookie of the Year, the one and only. Welcome to the show, RG3.
Appreciate you, brother.
Do you feel like you love to win more or you hate to lose more?
I always wanted to be the best, score the highest, run the fastest, jump the highest, do all those things.
When you do the videos, what happens when you leave the kids at home with dad? Have you ever connected with one of them drop kicks at the end of the video?
My rookie year, I outsold Messi in jerseys. So that's the level of stardom that it rises to. And I think what a lot of guys struggle with is what happens when it's not like that.
How did you find out who you were after you got hurt?
Wow. They don't want to go somewhere where it's a better fit for them because they want to have that logo on their helmet and they want to be able to tell their friends that this is where I went. But it's like, but where did you play?
What do you remember the most about that night?
All I hear in the crowd is silence. I could almost hear the spiral. He makes the catch, the crowd erupts.
Did you ever think, maybe I should have just protected myself from myself?
If I see Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan or any of those guys to this day, I'm willing to talk to them. I'm willing to have that conversation. It'd be a great podcast, by the way.
Maybe they should join.
Maybe.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it because you all cap like.
Welcome back to the Stuck in My Thoughts podcast. The place you want to be to hear a one-of-a-kind POV. As always, I'm your host, Justin Stuckey, and today's point of view comes from one of the greatest athletes of my generation. He was a killer on the field, killer on the track, Heisman Trophy winner, NFL Rookie of the Year. Today's point of view comes from the one and only. Welcome to the show, RG3.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you taking the time. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to start this. A lot of planning, and after a conversation that me, my good friend Harley, Tevin, and his pops had last night, I got to ask you the question. Okay. Totally off script.
All right.
What do you use to bathe with?
To bathe with?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that is a very off script question. Typically I use Dove. Sometimes because of my wife likes to try all these different mixes and stuff, we'll have some of those, special washes. But if it's the whole washcloth versus just the hand and the soap, I mean, I've used both. I've used the scrubbies and all that stuff, but typically just try to get as clean as I possibly can. Sometimes I just jump in the pool.
Nice pool out there.
With the pool, the way that it's treated, and then get in and just, wash off a little bit. But I definitely use soap.
That's good to know. If you were to use a washcloth,
yep.
How often do you think you should change that out before you use it?
Every time. Every time.
My guy.
Every time. Listen, you can't be washing your hair and then come back and wash your face. Like, come on now. Every time.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you for clearing the air on that one. That's what we needed.
We know that.
Yeah, we know that. As I mentioned in the intro, for me, I vividly remember being at a friend's house in the Oklahoma game. And I was like, who is this guy? Enamored. I grew up in a small town in Alabama, multiple sports, and there are people and moments that you just get attached to. And I vividly remember that. And I was like, man, who is this guy? Started to do my research at a younger age and realized, man, he wasn't just doing football, he was doing track and field. As I tapped into your journey more, I didn't know it started out in Japan. Mm-hmm. You being as a military kid, we just had Memorial Day.
Yep.
For a lot of military kids, they're moving around, traveling a lot. When you were going through that phase of moving around, did you have a hesitancy to get close to people knowing you were going to pretty much move right after that?
I didn't have that hesitancy because I didn't know at that age. I didn't understand why. I don't remember being in Japan, so I wasn't conscious quite yet. So going from Japan and moving to Olympia, Washington, and now I'm starting karate. I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. I'm like, why am I such a big Bruce Lee fan? Yeah. It's I know Bruce Lee's not Japanese, he's Chinese, but
Blackanese.
He's Blackanese. There you go. I'm liking these. And so going from there and then moving to New Orleans, Louisiana, and then moving to South Carolina, I just wasn't sure what was going on quite yet. So I was blessed enough that by the time I was 6 years old and I was actually conscious and started to remember things, we settled in Copperas Cove, Texas, right outside of Fort Hood. But what it really did teach me was just the ability to adapt to different atmospheres. You know, obviously in Japan, there's a different type of, you know, culture and a different way that they handle themselves. And you've seen that in the World Cup with, you know, the picking up after themselves after all the games and just how much they instill that into their people. Then you move to Olympia, Washington, it's a different culture. You go to New Orleans, Louisiana, that's a different culture, right?
Good food.
They're great food. Different culture, and that's where my family is from. So my mom and dad both born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. But I'm able to put on different hats and know how to adapt to different environments because of that military background. And I was, like I said, just blessed to not move during my school years.
Okay.
I went to 3 first grades, and after that, same middle school, same junior high, same high school. So that was very lucky for me.
A lot of times when younger kids get into the sports, it's for a few different reasons.
Yep.
Maybe it's they're getting in trouble, you're gonna get into this, or they see their friends doing it, or they just have a natural talent. What was the draw for you to sports?
The draw was 2 things. Well, 3 things. One, my dad. My dad was, you know, a great athlete. Didn't play in college. Honestly, didn't play much in high school either. But I got to see him in the military go out and play basketball and play football and do those things. So I wanted to be like my dad. Second thing was I was a like Mike kid. So Michael Jordan, I loved basketball. So I got to see that. I went to a Michael Jordan camp when I was young. And although I didn't get an autograph, I did get a chance to play one-on-one against Michael Jordan. And then 3, I just wanted to win. I wanted to be the best, no matter what it was. I still remember when I was 6 years old, my dad would take me to the basketball courts out at Lovett Ledger middle school, and he would make me dribble with my left hand. They had about 4 goals, and he would make me dribble with my left hand and shoot left-hand layups. Now, for a 6-year-old who's not left-handed, that's the end of the world.
That's hard.
That's hard. It took me 3 hours to go and make 50 left-hand layups. And I go back home, and I'm like, Mom, Dad made me dribble with my left hand. And I'm crying, and I'm crying. And I woke up the next day, went to my dad, and I said, let's go back and do it again. I did it in 20 minutes. So I always had this drive inside of me to be the best, whether it was on the field, off the field, in the classroom. I was the kid that wanted to raise his hand and answer the question. The teacher saying, no, not you, Robert. And I never looked at that as a bad thing. I always wanted to be the best, score the highest, run the fastest, jump the highest, do all those things. And I think that's what's stayed with me over the years to get to where I am today.
Do you feel like you love to win more or you hate to lose more?
Yeah, most great people hate losing. They don't celebrate the wins, right? They could have, you know, we had the Heisman Trophy season at Baylor, and the way I look at it is like, man, I still remember losing to Oklahoma State, losing to Texas A&M, and losing to K-State in a close one, right? It's harder to focus in and be like, hey, what about that block that sprung this in that game? And remember against Kansas when you guys won, with down 17 with 9 minutes left, like, those memories don't come first. So yes, I am a guy, I hate to lose. And because you hate to lose, you do love to win. But that motivation comes from not wanting to lose as opposed to, man, I just want to win so bad.
Yeah. When did you realize you were as fast as you were? Because I heard about the growth spurt, but wheels, man, that's like instant credibility in school.
It is. And I would say it was right around first grade, right when I'm coming into my own of like starting to remember things about life. I get to first grade, and in New Orleans, Louisiana, I never raced anybody because in that city, I was living in the projects. Yeah. So if you go to race people, the cops might think you running from something that you did wrong, so we didn't do that a ton. But when I got to Copperas Cove, Texas, you know, Texas isn't what people think. I know I'm wearing the cowboy hat, but it's not what people think all the time of just horses and cattle and lasso and things. But I wanted to see if I was the fastest in school. So first grade, I was the 4th fastest kid in school. Second grade, I was the 3rd fastest. Third grade, I was 2nd fastest, and by the time we got to 4th grade, I was the fastest kid in school. And I was the only one keeping count. No one else cared.
Nobody cares, Robert.
No one else cared, but I cared, and I would race him every single day. Win, lose, or draw, I raced every single day wanting to know that. But I really found out, when I was in first grade that I had wheels because I was playing baseball. And now when you watch baseball and you hit a home run, you thinking over the back wall, bat flip, doing your thing. And I started hitting in the park home runs. So now I'm hitting grounders to the left fieldman, and I'm sprinting the bases and scoring. And I'm like, hey, I think I might be pretty fast if this is what's going on. And that's how I came into my own, because I was always really, really skinny. You talk about that growth spurt, but I was really skinny and really short. So I had to use speed to be my ultimate weapon.
I joked with you before we started. I said I got to tell my guy, Coach Burrell, about this. We're at practice at Auburn one day, and this was when the podcast was really kind of getting off the ground.
Right.
And we were sitting under the tent because it was super hot in Alabama. He was like, Stuck, you should have this athlete I recruited one time on the show. I was like, who you talking about, Coach? He was like, man, his name, I can't remember his name. I was like, he was great hurdler. He was a football player. He played in the pros, though. He didn't do track. He went to the NFL. He's like, I'll come back to you. Came back the next 2 days. I was like, Coach, who was the guy? Oh, Stuck, have you ever heard of Robert Griffin? It's like, yeah, Coach, I think everybody has heard about RG3.
Yeah.
He told me a story of how he went to the football coach at Houston and was like, hey, we have to get this guy.
Yep.
Obviously, if you guys can see, this is a Baylor jersey here, so we didn't go to Houston. Can you talk to me a little bit about your recruitment story and how you ultimately ended up at Baylor amongst all the interests and offers you had?
Yeah, so, Coach Leo Burrell was at Houston. I was a kid coming out that I didn't love football when I was in high school. I played because I was really good at it, and I wanted to hang out with my friends and, go win a state championship. So when I was going to Houston, it was Leroy Burrell who had contacted Art Browse and told him, hey, you got to go check out this quarterback at Copper's Cove. Not only is he fast, but he's a great quarterback, and I want him on the track team, so I need you to get him on the football team. So Art sent down his recruiting coordinator, and they got me to believe that not only was Coach Brow's system the best system for me, but that they would allow me to run track and play basketball. So that's the other element. I was a full hooper.
Yeah.
I was a all-state basketball player. I started on varsity as a freshman, as a starting point guard. I did the AAU circuit, playing with 5 stars at the time, which was one of the best team in the state of Texas. So Leroy was going to get me to run the 110 hurdles, the 400 hurdles, the 4x1, the 4x4, and I was a long jumper and a high jumper.
Lord,
so I was a 6'10" high jumper out of high school, and I was a 24-foot long jumper coming out of high school. So as you said, oh Jesus, Leroy was going to run me to the ground.
I don't know how long he's going to last out there. I was like, he's every event.
He was going to run me into the ground, but it was something that I was enjoying. So when I committed to Houston, that was the plan. I was going to come in, I was going to run track in the spring of 2008 as an early graduate. Go to the Olympic trials, do that whole deal, play football in the fall, and then play basketball again before I got back to track. And it was going to happen until Art Browse left. He left Houston and became the head coach at Baylor University. And I honestly would have still thought about going to Houston. I had family in Houston. That made it really comfortable for me. But they took me off the recruiting board. So I never actually decommitted from Houston.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I never decommitted from Houston, and Leroy knows this. And he was mad. I think it was Kevin Sumlin who came in after, and they just assumed that I wouldn't go there. So they took me off the recruiting board. So Houston was no longer an option. I visited Stanford. I visited Tennessee, and then Oregon came in late as a late offer for me. And I decided that it was best for me to follow Coach Browse, but also go to a school in Baylor that I wanted to go to, which I don't know if you know this in your research, but Baylor never offered me. They offered me a walk-on scholarship because they had a quarterback in my class named Nick Florence, who ended up being my teammate, and they had committed to him in my class. So Guy Morris was the head coach at Baylor. So I was a 4-star recruit, had over 40 offers to play quarterback. and he offered me a walk-on scholarship at Baylor.
And I'm looking at Heisman on the other side as well. That's crazy.
So that part of it was interesting, and it showed me loyalty. So when Coach Browse told me, I want you to come with me to Baylor and do this, never been done before, I said to myself, I think this is the place that I need to be. This is where God's called me to be, and it just so happened to be at a Baptist university.
Since I met Harley, I don't know if you know our backstory, we met at the SEC championship. I was doing some stuff for SEC Nation, and I got him out the crowd. They ended up having an extra ticket to the game because I wasn't going. Made that relationship. And I tell him all the time, I was like, hey, I've gone through the process of recruitment, not in football, but in track and field. A lot of times athletes will chase names of schools rather than fit. I'm like, dude, whatever you do, chase fit. On this show, I try to give perspective to a multitude of people. Can you shed light to those high school athletes out there, or even the transfer portal athletes out there, about finding the right fit?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're 100% right there. When it comes to the right fit, no one would have told you that Baylor University would have been the right fit for me. Let alone, now Houston was ranked when I committed to Houston. They were a top 25 team, but a lot of people were shocked that I was going to go to Houston as well. And like we talked about, I was going to play all three sports. There's not a lot of universities out there that are going to let you even think about playing three, let alone two.
Yeah.
So for me, when I went to Baylor as a 4-star recruit, I think I was the number 3 dual threat quarterback in the country based off the ratings, which don't worry about the ratings either. They're mostly wrong all the time. But they were shocked. Baylor had won 1 game the previous year. And the way I looked at it was the offensive system, it was the environment that I was going to be in, and it was also an educational piece there as well. I went to school for political science. Baylor had its own law school. So I knew that if I just went through and did everything I was supposed to based off what the plan was without football, I could get to where I wanted to be, become a lawyer, all at the same university, and it was a highly ranked law school as well, with one of the best business schools in the country. So a lot of times the athlete, they chase what they think their friends are going to be impressed by, as opposed to what their gut is telling them of where they actually need to be. My high school running back, he's a brother to me. His name is Troy Vital. They used to call us RG and TV. Troy was an all-state running back. I was never an all-state quarterback in high school for whatever reason. But he was an all-state running back. And he was supposed to come with me to Baylor. We both committed to Houston. And he went on a visit to Idaho. And his visit to Idaho, they gave him the key to the city. They wined and dined him, told him he was going to be all this and the man, and he was that good. But when he came back, he was decked out in Idaho Vandal gear, and he had committed to Idaho. I knew Idaho wasn't the best fit for him, but they made him feel special like he is. And he went to Idaho, he ran for 500 yards his freshman year, and then he had 4 coaches in 5 years and never got another shot because it wasn't the best fit for him. I've had kids that I've mentored that have been at the Oregons, they've been at the Michigans, and they don't want to go somewhere where it's a better fit for them because they want to have that logo on their helmet and they want to be able to tell their friends that this is where I went. But it's like, but where did you play?
That's a bar.
Right?
Yeah.
Where did you play? How did you improve? The only way to get better at football is to play. You would never go somewhere in track and field and just sit around.
Nah.
And be like, hey, I'm gonna be a senior. I ain't played. I ain't ran a meet. I ain't done a jump. None of that in 4 years. And I'm just gonna automatically be that guy. You gotta go play. And I would tell all the young athletes out there, men and women, go where you're going to play. They will find you, no matter what. But go where you're gonna play.
Love that. And we're gonna skip a little bit through your Baylor career. Like I said, I vividly remember the Oklahoma game. You did great work. I've never been this close to a Heisman Trophy, just to be honest. When I was setting up here, I was like, oh my gosh, kind of hit me. What do you remember the most about that night?
Wow. The night that they called my name for the Heisman, the day before, I talked to my coach, Art Browse, and my offensive coordinator, Philip Montgomery, who was the head coach at Tulsa for a really long time. And I just asked him, like, do we really have a shot at winning this? we were going up against the Goliaths of college football. You know, we had LSU with Tyrann Mathieu. We had Alabama with Trent Richardson. We had Stanford with Andrew Luck. Monty Ball, who had, I think, just broken the rushing record at Wisconsin. And these are all huge schools. And when I went to Baylor at first, our initials are BU. People were calling us Boston University because they didn't know the difference between Baylor and Boston. And I'm like, how are they going to give this trophy to a school like us that's been, really forgotten, looked at as a stepbrother? When people played us early on in my college career, it was like, oh, this is the bye week. We're going to crush these guys. So to go from that to being on the national stage, I just asked them, like, are they really going to give this to us? And both of my coaches said, well, we earned it. You earned it. We earned it in a way that it's undeniable. So as the trustee was up there saying, the winner of the 2011 Heisman Trophy is, I could feel my heart beating through my chest. The anticipation, knowing like, okay, we put in the work. We've done this. This is something that I've always dreamed of. I played NCAA when I was a kid, and you soup up your character at 99, you go up there, you throw all these yards, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, you won the Heisman. You dream of these kind of moments. But when you're in that moment, it's surreal. I had the Superman socks on, but when they called my name, it felt like it just wasn't real life. It felt like I was flying. And to be able to hug on my family, hug on my coaches, as you walk up there and you give that speech, it was truly a dream come true, something that you work for.
So are you told prior to at all? See, there is a documentary that Auburn put out, and it was when Cam was winning their 2010 team.
Okay.
And somebody said on there that they were told, and they let him know before he won, right before.
Oh, no.
So that was always my thought process. Okay, I'm glad you gave some insight.
No. I didn't know. They take everybody through. You take pictures with the Heisman. Everybody takes pictures with the Heisman. They let you practice your speech. I did not practice my speech. I just, went up there and, just sat behind the podium for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But they don't tell you, and they treat everybody the same. So if somebody did tell them, I'm sure they kicked that person out of the group. Yeah. But everybody, I think it ruins the moment. Mm-hmm. And it ruins the authenticity of finding out that you won, because then nobody would show up. Who's going to show up to an award ceremony when they know they lost? They wouldn't.
It's true.
So they keep it under wraps, and I didn't know. So it was truly shock and awe in that moment of like, wow, this really just happened.
Did you take it through the airport? How do you get it back home?
Yeah. So there's a massive suitcase. The suitcase is actually in the closet over there in the front that you travel with. So this is the actual trophy that was raised on the stage. And then they make one for you and they make one for the university. So there's two Heisman trophies, but this is the authentic one. I'll get it for you. It's pretty heavy, but
We're getting a exclusive, y'all.
Yeah.
Guys, I didn't think I was gonna be ever holding
Go ahead and give your speech.
a Heisman Trophy. I just wanna thank my guy RG3 for giving me this opportunity, this moment to hold legacy. Like I said, I remember when he made the pass against Oklahoma, doing his thing. I had the video game. I couldn't find it before we drove down to Houston. I was sick with myself. But yeah, this is a momentous occasion. And again, it's a legend. I don't even know where I want to go after this. Can I take this back? I can't do it.
It's pretty heavy. People always ask, like, hey, how much does it weigh? It's about 50 pounds, but it's, it's not a 50-pound dumbbell. You got to get off that name right there.
Yeah. Got to keep that fresh.
It's a truly, truly special award. And I always say we won the Heisman instead of I won the Heisman, because it is such a team award. You have to win enough games to really even be in consideration for it. But the way we won our games is why we won the Heisman. Mm-hmm. Late in the year, we had 3 losses. We came out, we thought our Big 12 championship hopes were dead. We thought any postseason awards were dead. Because when we came into the year, the way we beat TCU to start the year, and I think through 4 games, I had more touchdown passes and incompletions. So now the guys were like, oh my goodness, we got a chance to do all these different things. Mm-hmm. And the team really focused in on how can we get RG3 to where we believe he should be at. Mm-hmm. So I take pride in the fact that they looked at it that way. and we beat Kansas down the stretch. We came in, we beat Oklahoma last second. We beat Texas the way that we beat them, and it was on national TV. That's why we won the Heisman, because everyone got to see it. And they were amazed by that pass to Terrence Williams in the corner of the end zone. If that happens not in prime time, this trophy's not here right now.
Yeah.
So I think it was just meant to be. God had a plan for us to kind of go through and make those plays happen. And that pass, I wasn't even supposed to throw that pass. So that's what makes it even more special. You want to hear that?
Yeah, let's hear that story.
So we go into the last drive against Oklahoma. Coach, we're in field goal range, so coach just wants to kick a field goal. I think a field goal would have tied it.
Yeah.
And coach said, we're in field goal range. Don't do anything stupid. You never tell anybody that before they go out to a play. That's like telling the guys trying to catch a punt, don't drop it. But we go out, they blitz off the edge, and the left tackle, kind of runs him around. So I boot out of the pocket, and I can hear from the sideline coach saying, throw it away, throw it away. And I look, and the one guy that I always was on the same page with during scramble drills was Terrence Williams, former receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. He was my guy. When I broke the pocket, I knew me and him, we were going to be
Yin and yang,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it was going to be there. So I look back, and he's running a seam route because we had run all verticals. When you break the pocket on all verticals, typically it's not a great play. And I saw opening to the back corner of the end zone. And I saw him, and it was almost like we linked up. And I just threw it. He was running this way, and I threw it that way. He hit a baseball turn and went and made the catch. And I didn't even get to see it because I got hit in the face. I got hit in the face by the Oklahoma defensive lineman. So I'm on the ground, and all I hear in the crowd is silence. I could almost hear the spiral. He makes the catch. The crowd erupts. One of my best friends on the team was my left guard, Cam Caulfield. He comes and picks me up off the ground, and he says, "We did it!" And I'll never forget that moment because it was almost like a movie, and it was playing in slow motion. So on a play that I wasn't supposed to throw, that coach wanted me to throw the ball away, that I threw not even the right route on because it was just a feeling. And that's what won us the Heisman Trophy. Sometimes God has a plan for you. You just got to walk in it and trust when he tells you to make that throw and go for it.
Love that right there. Got to take the risk, got to take the moment and seize the moment. And then you got to achieve, at that point, a lifelong dream, a guy who didn't really love the sport in high school, just playing because he's good, and you get to go to the NFL and immediate success for you. At what point did you realize, okay, my life is no longer normal?
In high school, when I was running track and field, you know what it's like to be track and field famous, and you go to a meet and everybody wants your picture, they want an autograph, and it's awesome, it's great. You want to give back to the people who, want to be like you one day. You go to college football, it amps up a lot. But when you get drafted to the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., and Barack Obama is the president of the United States, and you go to a basketball game, and they're more clamoring about you than they are about Barack Obama, that's when oh, this is a little bit different. You go to the mall. You ever see those videos of Drake when he's gone to grocery stores or malls or whatnot, and the crowd is just there? That was the experience. I go to the mall with Trent Williams, was my left tackle in Washington. There's me, him, D'Angelo Hall was a very famous borderline Hall of Fame DB, and we all go to the mall together, and it was just on instant, crazy, thousands of people following us from store to store, and you're okay, this is a different monster, because when you win in Washington D.C., it's different than anything else. And you're talking about the way that they treat you, the way that they approach you. It was just a lot different. My rookie year, I outsold Messi in jerseys. So that's the level of stardom that it rises to. And I think what a lot of guys struggle with is, what happens when it's not like that? Now, how do you react and how do you respond, right? Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. Tom Brady doesn't get the same fanfare that he did when he was winning Super Bowls for the New England Patriots or the Tampa Bay Bucks. But is he still Tom Brady? who does he know that he is in his heart, and how does he identify through that? So that's when I knew it was different. And then over the years, being pro for 8 years, now I'm 36 years old. I've been a professional in some aspect for 14, going on 15 years now. That's when you're like, okay, I see why guys can struggle here, because you go from walking out and running out in the stadium to 80,000 people cheering your name to walking into Walmart with no one cheering your name. How do you deal with that? How do you make that transition? So it is truly something I know a lot of guys do struggle with, but that's the reality. You go to Auburn, I don't know, what is Auburn's seat in their football stadium?
Was it like 89?
90,000. Like,
Yeah.
If you're a football player and you at Auburn, shit, that's every week.
Liddy.
Right? Now say you don't go pro. Where you getting that feeling at?
Nowhere.
Not at the pharmacy.
Yeah.
You feel me? You might go coach high school ball and there might be 5,000 people there. So I think that's where you really realize, like, oh, this is different. And once you get out of it, you just got to make sure you know who you are.
Yeah. I was going to get into that, and I know everybody's asked you about the injury. There's highs and lows to the game. I've got these jeans on. You can't see the scar that's from here to here. I gave you my background in tech, multi-time All-American. I went to the trial, 7'3" jumper. I get to Auburn. I'm supposed to win a natty. I was at Sanford before. Bronze medalist the year before. It's like, all right, we're going to Auburn, win a natty. Knee surgery.
Right.
Who are you after that? How did you find out who you were after you got hurt?
Well, I know in college, a lot of people don't remember, but I actually tore my ACL in college first. So in 2009, I was a freshman All-American, came back 2009, I stopped running track, fully focused on football, tore my ACL. So I'm like, is God trying to tell me something? Is God trying to tell me that track and field is where you need to be, or you need to be doing all these different things? I didn't love football. So as I'm coming back from that injury, I had a 2-week period where I questioned everything. My relationship with God, my faith, is God real? What decision am I going to make? And, when you come up in the church, they always tell you at some point there comes a moment where you have to make the decision, and you have to decide for you, not for your parents, not for your brother and them, not for your auntie and them, for you. And I made that decision that I was going to follow God, and that no matter what happened to me, I was going to find the silver lining in what he was trying to teach me in that moment. So one of the greatest decisions I ever made in my life was not picking track and field. If I had picked track and field, we wouldn't be in this house right now. You know what I mean, from a financial standpoint. But I didn't make my decision based off of money. I made my decision based off when I was sitting on that table in the training room, doing quad sets.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? Doing the knee extensions and the one where you wrap the straps around your leg and you gotta pump it down and it straightens your leg out. And I saw my teammates running out on the field giggling. And I'm like, man, it would feel really good to be able to run right now. And then after a couple of days of that, now I'm watching them out there practice and I'm like, man, I actually miss that. I miss practicing. I miss being out there and dominating the way that I know how to dominate. But here I am. I got to get help to go to the bathroom, to get off the table. So in those moments, I wouldn't say it humbled me, but it showed me that I think I do love football.
Make you not take it for granted anymore.
And like they always say, with love, when they take it away from you, the heart grows fonder. Well, that moment made me fall in love with God, and it made me fall in love with football. So through that, now we come back, and you say to yourself, I'm gonna come back stronger. Well, we won the Heisman. So then I go to the NFL, and now we're doing great things in Washington, D.C. We're winning the division. We're in the wild card round, and boom, it happens again. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this is just another trial and tribulation that God has me to go through. But little did I know that injury my rookie year would be the end of my football career trajectory the way that I wanted it to go, but it would be the beginning of my life journey. So everything that I do in life now is, how do you overcome adversity when you've done it once before, but now you have to have an opportunity to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
So how can I be a better father? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better analyst? how can I tell your story or the guy's story who's the next star better than the people before me told mine? So that's how I approach it now. And I say all that knowing that I still played 7 more years in the NFL. But they weren't the 7 years that I wanted or the 7 years that everyone thought would be. But to get 8 years in the NFL, played the way that I played, at my peak, I was one of the best quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen. I take solace in that, knowing that how can I not use my story to make somebody else better? And I got that opportunity with Lamar Jackson. 2018, 19, and 20, I was the backup quarterback in Baltimore. And Lamar Jackson came in the league very similar to the way that I did. Rookie, Heisman Trophy winner, leads the team to the playoffs. And I always talk to him, hey, if you're hurt, if your elbow hurts, go play. But if you're injured and you can't be Lamar, don't step out on that field. And I saw that in 2022, I believe. I wasn't there, and Lamar hurt his knee. And everyone's like, he should play. He should put it all on the line for his teammates. And guess who did that? I did.
Yeah.
And it did not help me or the team. And I would preach that to Lamar and try to teach him that. And he took those teachings and he sat out, I think, the remainder of that year, over half the season, to get back righteous. And now he got paid. I think he was the highest paid player in the league. He's gone on long playoff runs, and it's because he didn't play in that season.
Yeah. And
if that's my contribution to the game of showing like, hey, boom, here's what it looks like as when you're a rookie, and then here you got one of the greatest, I think he's the greatest third quarterback of all time. And he could take that one lesson, that's enough for me, because God will put me in position to be able to pass it forward to the next generation.
Yeah.
So when I look at the injury, I don't look at it and say, oh, woe is me. The fans are like, man, biggest what if in NFL history. And I'm like, you know what? It probably is. But at the same time, I'm not living here today saying, man, what if? I can't live that way. I have to make sure I'm the best that I can be for my wife and for my kids and enjoy the life that God has blessed me with.
I love how you have said in previous interviews that you felt like the coaches, whoever should have helped you, protect you from your own self.
Yeah.
And if you don't step out there, it's looked at as weak. And I felt the same way. But I wanted to ask you this because I thought about, man, when I got injured, did you ever say, man, maybe this is my fault? Because I should have had the wherewithal to been like, I knew something was wrong. Like, I can vividly remember when I had to go get them PRP injections and they dropped my blood on the floor. I was like, maybe this is God saying I should not do this right now. Like,
right.
And then looking back, I'm like, dang.
Right.
Like, did you ever think, maybe I should have just protected myself from myself?
I think hindsight's always 20/20. So you never come out of a situation and say it's all their fault. Like, you always have to take responsibility for what you did. So that's how I conquer my life. I'm fully responsible for what happened because I'm the one who did it, right?
Yeah.
But you know this, as an athlete, our job is not to half step. If you step on the track and you say to yourself, I'm going to really try to jump 7.3 today. But if I don't get it, it's whatever. No, you go, I'm jumping 7.3 today.
I'm jumping 7.5.
I'm jumping 7.5 today. You walk out on the field, of the football field, and you don't say, I'm just going to try to throw this ball in this tight window. Like, you see, you're like, I got that. Right? There is no half step. And so when you have that fight or flight mentality, it is the job of those around you to protect you from you. It's the job of the trainers, the job of the doctors, the job of the coaches to say, okay, we know he wants to do this, but this is what's in his best interest. The problem becomes when they know that you're what's in their best interest and they know that you're what's in the team's best interest. And now they're conflicted. Because if they take you out, the team's going to feel like they're giving up.
Yeah.
Or maybe the relationship is burnt. And so I still feel that way to this day, but it's not something that I hold on to. When I see those guys in person, I don't hold on to that.
Yeah.
We know this as believers. When you hold on to that stuff, you're not hurting them. You're hurting you. So I've seen the Jay Grudens. I saw him at a wedding for one of my good friends, Chris Thompson, who was a running back for me in Washington. And I didn't have a problem with him. We talked about it. It wasn't like you just act like it's not there, but I talked with him about it. You talk through it. If I see Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan or any of those guys to this day, I'm willing to talk to them. I'm willing to have that conversation. It'd be a great podcast, by the way. But for me, it's just...
Maybe they should join.
Maybe.
Kyle, Mike?
But to me, it's like at the end of the day, you have to, as an athlete, your job is to go out and be the best that you can be. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured. And if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't necessarily do it the same exact way and say, you guys protect me. I would say, all right, I was injured. There's a fundamental difference between getting a hangnail and tearing a ligament in your knee. I played with a torn LCL the rest of my rookie year. Played at a high level, but I shouldn't have. And I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah. Stepping away from football, the career, I think that was amazing. But I like the role that you stepped in as a father, girl dad. And I was gonna start the episode with this, but when you do the videos, what happens when you leave the kids at home with dad?
Right.
See, I'm a huge wrestling fan, huge WWE guy. I just want to know, met your wife, very nice. Have you ever connected with one of them drop kicks at the end of the video?
I have not. The drop kick, I've never connected with a drop kick, but one of the videos that we did, we do the drop kick at the end of every one of them. In the middle of after the third one we did, I actually hit her with a spear from behind, but it hurt her in such a way that we decided to just go back to the drop kicks. And I've never hit her with a drop kick, but a couple weeks ago we did a video and I was supposed to jump over her. And I slipped on the jump and literally landed right on top of her. So we'll have some blooper reels that we'll put out there, but we only make the videos when the girls want to make them.
Gotcha.
Because it's supposed to be fun for our kids and they like to do them. So people were getting on us because man, why don't y'all do more of these videos, post them every single week? I would go 4 months without posting one just because our daughters didn't ask to do it. So now when we do it, if they don't want to, we just stop because we're not going to torture our kids to make content. We want it to be fun for them. And they sometimes they like beating up daddy, but don't worry, daddy's going to come back.
Yeah.
He's gonna get them all back here pretty soon.
Are we ever going to see you ringside at a wrestling event?
There's been some communication and some talks with WWE about those types of things. So the AEW is also sell to us. So yeah, I love wrestling. I grew up on it. I was a Shawn Michaels, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Sting, Goldberg. That was when it was WCW and WWE, ECW with Sabu, Tommy the Dreamer, and all those guys. So I'm a huge wrestling fan. I love it. Kids love it. So we'll definitely try to make that happen here pretty soon. They just gotta, make it all work.
Holla at your boy, man. Holla at your boy. We've had a few wrestlers on the show as well, so it's been cool to see. All right, we're winding this thing down. Appreciate your time, of course. This show is always built on connections, and I ask everybody, who do you think should come on the show next if you had some recs?
Wow. Who should come on the show next? That's a great question. Have you had Seth Rollins on the show?
I met Seth Rollins Super Bowl 2025.
Okay.
It was in New Orleans.
Okay.
He liked my DM, and then he stopped responding to my DM. So Seth Rollins, I know you see him. He was cool. And I know you sat down with him.
He's a cool dude.
Holla at your boy. Maybe I got some connection, but it's ultimately going to be up to Seth.
Yes. Yeah. And if it wasn't Seth, I would say, I'm going to give you multiple because I think the podcasting, the podcasting game, it's all about how good of an interviewer the person is. You're a great interviewer. But who you're talking to also has to be game. So 3 of the best ones that we've had, one, Deion Sanders. I think that if you could get Primetime on the show, he's my guy, so I'll talk to him about you as well. But you always walk away from an interview with Deion with the approach that you take, enlightened about something. He was preaching on our podcast. It was like, damn, me and my wife both said it I feel like I learned a lot just from this conversation. And then 2, I would say, which I don't know if you've had any UFC fighters on your pod.
I watched the other night though.
Demetrius Johnson.
Okay.
Mighty Mouse.
You guys did a pod together.
Yes, we did. Unbelievable interview. And Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier's story is just incredible. His comeback from being in juvenile detention, how he met his wife, how she has, helped him become who he is, and now he is retired, but the Diamond he's one of the most popular fighters in all of UFC. But those would be the three that I would say, because of what you're talking about, I think they add the most value to the podcast.
Appreciate that. We'll make some connections after this. All right, guys. All right, RG3. The name of the show is called Stuck in My Thoughts, and I ask everybody that I sit down with, what do you get stuck in your thoughts about?
I get stuck in my thoughts about legacy. Over the past 5 years, you start to look back on what you've been able to accomplish individually. And it's like, all right, when I pass away, when I die, what are they going to be able to say about me that was my legacy? Is it going to be the Heisman Trophy? Is it going to be NFL Rookie of the Year? Is it going to be the injury and the big what if? And me and my wife have dedicated ourselves to passing it forward to the next generation so that we can create an environment so more people can be successful at the highest level possible. So we have a 7-on-7 organization that has 20 teams from AU all the way through 18U. And we spend our time giving back to those families to help them get to where they want to be. Mm-hmm. We spend our time with our foundation, making sure that we can end food insecurity, because that's going to have a much longer lasting impact than just being a Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah. This is the most exclusive fraternity in the world.
Yeah, just go.
But we want to be much more than just this.
Yeah.
So we get stuck in our thoughts sometimes about how can we impact more people in a positive way. That's why I post quotes every single morning. That's why I talk about my faith every single morning. It's why I stand up for what's right every single opportunity that I get when I see something that I know isn't right. Mm-hmm. Because it has to be bigger than just you.
Yeah.
And it can't just be about you. It's got to be about us.
I love it, man. RG3, appreciate the time, man.
Much love, my guy. Great job, brother.
Thank you.
Whoa. Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look